Hi everyone, in this video we're going to learn the REST API definition. Let me remind you of what we discussed in a previous video. We agreed on definitions for an API and for an app, and we created the schema to explain these concepts. If it's new to you, you can check the previous video. If you're already familiar with the schema, I have some controversial news for you. The good news is that the schema is good for an explanation of the public APIs from the end user or business perspective. And the bad news is that schema is way too simplified and misses a lot of important technical aspects. You won't be able to test anything based on it. In this and the next videos, we are going to fix this issue. All of this was related to the APIs in general, and a lot of information is still valuable, as the REST API is the API at the end. But these 4 letters add a lot of complexity. Let's start by checking the definition of the REST API. The most common explanation of the REST API is something like this. A web API that obeys the REST architectural constraints is informally described as RESTful. Typically for API topics, the definition instead of providing answers leads to more questions. And before we start this long or even endless journey, I want to show you a couple of pictures of the REST APIs. Sometimes it's better to see something once than to hear about it 1,000 times. For example, the Spotify API is built based on simple REST principles. You can see the HTTP POST request sample here, and HTTP response body example in the JSON format. The Jira API is a good example of REST APIs. And again, the request is posed with headers, path parameters, and JSON body. The last example I want to show you is Swagger Pet Store. It is a very popular test REST API, and we are going to use it as well for the basic tests. Actually, this is the API mentioned in our story. And again, you can see the HTTP POST request with the body, and the body is again in JSON format. REST APIs can be very different from what you see on the screen. But typically these kinds of APIs people call REST APIs. And if you need to test something similar to what you have seen, then welcome to this course. And in the next video, we are going to learn what is REST and what REST architectural constraints are.